Okay, hey everybody, welcome to today's match. We have got Chadicular, Chad up on the top and zeroskatr12, John down at the bottom. Here comes our final. Here are their initial selections, and we are about to hear from Paz Roxy Enjoyer with a recap of everything that has happened and a good pep talk.
Ban phase. We get our bans down. Zero banning Zvar and Chad banning. One can only wonder what's going through their heads right now. Is it anxiety, confidence, a secret third feeling that none of us could ever hope to know as we're not finalists? While we dwell on these thoughts, let's take a little trip down memory lane on how we got here. Chad made it to the finals with a quick first round bye, immediately jumping him straight into the second round. Following that, a single win with Nilly, followed by another win with Spoiler, taking down two of his opponents in rapid faction. Moving into the semifinals, Chad had a tough choice to make. Bring back one of the cards he already ran, or introduce something new, but he kept it consistent with what he knows best, ran Nilly, and absolutely demolished whoever the other semifinalist was that he was up against. Some people say it wasn't even a close game. Others say, hey man, it was just one turn away. Where are my basic soldiers? As for Zero, he came into the tournament strong, playing off his famous Lich deck, the one that keeps the entire community quaking in fear at the chance to ever get to play against it, and then quickly moved over into the never-expected Refractory phase, running Priestess and Bullgriff Rider. Another convert for the glorious sunlight, just showing everyone its radiance before moving back into Zvar in his semifinals match against another Delguan main. This tournament's been long, it's been hard, but most of all, it's been fun. Another incredible production, not only by the Chaotic Great team, but their loyal followers, the citizens and players of Gudnak, or Goodnock. Depends on which creator you ask. All right, the decision's been made. Protean versus Lich. One thing we can say for sure, there will be a lot of constructs on this map. That's right, folks. On this glorious day, the Grand Gampion will be crowned. We came in with 5 Gs. We're going to leave with 7 Gs.
Hey, here we go. Thank you so much, Paz Roxy Enjoyer, for that absolute gem of an intro. Let's get it started. The Protean Chad versus the Lich John down at the bottom. Okay, so right off the bat, Chad's going to go ahead and start us off with a Brute 2 in the gates. And for his first turn, John is going to go ahead and play Memento Mori. So that's a great first action for him. You love seeing that get in the deck really quick. And here is some high octane moves from Chad right off the bat. We have a Brute 3 and the Protean. And coming across from him, we see the Lich come out from John right away. 3 threes on the board right off the bat. Such a high octane battle coming along. And so we see that the Phylactery gets pulled out of the deck from the Lich, and that shuffles the deck, which does mean Memento Mori. It could be anywhere in the deck at this point and not necessarily on the bottom. He puts out a Soldier 3, so we now have 4 threes on the field. And here comes an absolute banger move from Chad. So he moves up the stack of the 2 Brute and the 3 Brute and puts Cross Pollinator behind it. This really puts John in a bind because that 3 is going to die no matter what. He decides to pull out Phylactery, so that way he doesn't lose too much here, but Chad is going to activate the Cross Pollinator to get that clean kill on the 3 Soldier right off the bat here. Great play from him, and we can expect to see a trade here from the Lich. Yep, sure enough, so there's Lich, an instant trigger of that Phylactery. So despite a clean kill on a 3 and a use of Phylactery, we are even on 3s. What a crazy way to start the game. And I believe John took a draw action for his second action this turn. No, excuse me. For his second action, he moved the Lich back because it goes onto Phylactery unfatigued since the wording is put. So yeah, really crazy opener to this game already. You gotta love Chad's position, having the Brute, the Protean, having cross-pollinator. Going to be a really interesting game here. So he's going to shift over that Brute 2 and put out a Hunter 2. So he does have a lot more board presence. That is what you sacrifice with the Gloaming, is being able to have quick board presence compared to some of the other factions with their high cost cards. Here comes the Carpenter. That is one thing you can do to minimize some costs with this faction, is getting him to put some free constructs underneath. Okay, so we see a Hunter 2 move up, and we see the Brute 2 come out behind that Hunter 2. So yeah, lots of pressure here. That's going to motivate John to take that trade with the Hunter 2 so it doesn't get a clean kill. And sure enough, here comes an Effigy of Subjugation right underneath of that Brute right away. So it does get to trigger at least once here. Then for his first action, since that was free, he will trade that Brute 2 with the Hunter 2, sure enough. And yeah, looks like he took a draw action on that turn. And so we see an advance with that Brute 2, so a lot of pressure on that FG of Subjugation. I mean, zeroskatr12's got to be wondering if there's a Brute Force that could be in play here with all these Brute 2s, but it looks like he doesn't suspect that's the case. And he shifts over onto the FG of Subjugation and plays a Hunter 2 of his own to be able to put some pressures on those Brutes. Chad here doesn't want to risk getting a trade up onto his Brutes from the Hunter, so he's going to activate Cross-Pollinator to be able to attack diagonally and take an even trade with the Brute and the Hunter. Now for his turn, John's going to go ahead and put some pressure on by moving up the Lich and putting another 3 out, so we see the Brute 3 come out on the field. And this is a tough spot for Chad with the Effigy of Subjugation. He can't double deploy or anything like that. Effigy really does limit some things he can do, but he shifts over the Protean. And for his second action, he's going to play Mycelium Machine. Now, that is a really cool combo with the Protean because that means he'll be able to play 2 Spore Colonies at the start of his next turn. John's going to respond with a lot of pressure by moving up the Brute 3 and putting Bards for Hire safely behind it. That's great play because that means he's only going to get 1 Spore Colony, not 2, since the Protean is currently negated. It also means he can't get an easy trade up on that Brute 3 there. But Chad is going to go ahead and put some pressure onto John's gates by moving that Brute 2 up, and then he's going to respond with a Hunter 3 in the gate. So we've now already seen every single 3 in the game. And that Hunter 3 is across from the Lich with no phylactery to trade it on. John's going to go ahead and trade with the Protean, which is a great choice for him, because you really don't want to see the Protean get lots of clean kills, which is something completely in its power with Heartroot Guardian or just dropping basics net to him. John's then going to move that Lich over to get some good pressure onto Chad's gates, who's going to put a Spore Colony in the middle row next to the Lich. And now for his first action, he's activating Cross-Pollinator here. Not to attack diagonally, but to not proc the relocation. So that's a really nice move for him because he does get to kill the Bards while maintaining pressure in John's back row, who now has the Halfling Chef and the Hunter 2 out. So that's really great for him. But here comes a great play for Chad, playing the Abrupt Decay. So he gets a clean kill on the Lich, which is really good. A nice thing is if John has Soul Swap, he's not going to be able to trigger a trade for one of his other 3s to get the Lich back because they're both dead. So that's really nice for him. But here comes the Memento Mori. He did make the attack cheaper, so he gets both play Memento Mori for 2. And he also gets to get that clean kill on that Brute 2. And he did put the Lich back on his hand. Now here comes the Heartroot Guardian and the Hunter 3, so this is an insane amount of pressure with all Spore Colonies in the middle rows. Now what John's going to go ahead and do here is discount the Defend action, just kind of as a throwaway. He doesn't want to give any extra actions. He's going to play the Lich to get Phylactery back into his hand, and then he is going to play Dominating Wraith. And I just edited the card there because the video cut out here, but he put the Wraith on top of the 3, even though there's the pressure with the Heartroot Guardian, and we're going to see why in just a little bit. But for Chad's turn, he's going to go ahead and attack the Dominating Wraith to free up his 3 for his first action. And for his second action, I believe he is going to go ahead and attack that Halfling Chef to get rid of both Effigy and stop giving John free actions. Also makes it so that the Lich won't be able to like move and then put back Phylactery or something like that. So that's a lot of pressure there, but his gates are open. And this is where just gloaming sneakiness comes into play. John plays Shallow Grave, so essentially Chad has to pick 2 fighters from him, and the one that was picked was Dominating Wraith. So John puts Dominating Wraith underneath of Heartroot Guardian for his first action, and for his second action he plays Mysterious Mist to relocate the Heartroot Guardian off of his gates, leaving Dominating Wraith in Chad's gates for the win. And that's what went down there, just pure gloaming trickery right at the end to get the win. Super great game, really intense, lots of high power choices and great choices being made by both sides. And Chad had all the pressure in the world on John in that game, and then it was just that Mysterious Mist Shallow Grave combo that did it for him at the end. So something that was interesting about this game was I found out talking to both players after the game that there was some discussion that I missed in the middle of the game about whether this interaction would work, which is playing Rock Golem Mimic to play Memento Mori, and there hadn't been any official rulings yet, so they decided not to let this go through in the game. But it has since been ruled that if you play Rock Golem Mimic on Memento Mori, that would take the card Memento Mori and put it on the bottom of the Rotborn player's deck, because it would count as playing the card for the first time, and then they would be able to play it a second time. If that had gone through, it would have been really interesting, because we would have seen an extra card onto Chad's deck, and that could have bought him some time to survive that combo. He also potentially would have played the Rock Golem Mimic on top of his Heartroot Guardian, so it wouldn't have been valid for that sneaky winning play there. So I would have loved to see what would have happened if we had gotten that ruling before this game to see how it might have been different. But that said, we don't know if at some point John still would have been able to pull off that combo. So nothing's set for sure. But yeah, real shame that we didn't run this tournament as a best of 3 for the finals. I would have really loved to have seen 3 matches between Chad and John. You can see why they both made it to the final match. Just excellent players, excellent final match, and great tournament by both of them throughout the whole way through. So yeah, this was a super fun game to be a part of. And you can see there's the bracket right there. I'm just proud to say that I did get out in the second round, but I did lose to the ultimate winner, John, so at least I have that. But all in all, I just want to thank everybody who played the 5G tournament. It was all the players who made this such a good time. People hopping in for the streams, people participating. I think everyone who joined had a really good time. Be coming up on the 6G tournament at some point, basically the spiritual successor of this tournament, coming sometime soon. So if you've watched these videos and enjoyed it and weren't a part of the first one, feel free to hop into that second one. Super great time for this next tournament. We're thinking we'll probably do some sort of Swiss or pool play to start off, and then we'll go ahead and move into a bracket system, and we're thinking in the bracket we might do best of 3 for some more interesting things. So it should be super fun. Really excited for that next one. Thanks again everyone for participating. Go ahead and watch, or go ahead to PAX Unplugged if you're anywhere close to Philadelphia. That should be a great time. And thanks for sticking with me for this journey. I appreciate all you guys watching, and I'll catch you later. See ya.